everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Huck. Today we're doing a March-April book haul. Recently, I have been buying books more slowly, which is why I am combining the two, because I only have about 6 books to talk about today. But yeah, I've just been buying books more slowly recently, which honestly is good because I also have been reading more slowly. I did read quite a few books in March, but many of them were books that were like audiobooks that I don't own physically, so I'm not really counting those. I guess I'm reading my physical books pretty slowly recently, so it's a good thing that I am buying books more slowly as well. So let's just get started. I do have a couple more books that will be coming later in April because they're kind of like later April releases, but I wanted to film this now, so we're talking about these now. And I'll just lump those into whatever my next book haul will be. Probably a May book haul because I'll probably have enough to read that, or enough to haul then. But as I said, we'll get started. So first up, we have Scorpica by G.R. McAllister. This is one of my most anticipated releases of the year. And it's the beginning of a new series that takes place in this world of the 5 queendoms, and I believe that this takes place in a world that is kind of a matriarchal society that has these queens, but then for some reason at a certain point, like, there are no more girls being born. And so we're following multiple perspectives, we're following different women in this world. I don't remember too much else about the plot. I kind of don't want to know too much about it, but I just know it sounded really interesting. I have high hopes. I'm trying to like manage expectations for it and not put it at a disadvantage because I'm like too excited. But I am really looking forward to this one, and it was one of my most anticipated releases. And it has some very good quotes. There's a blurb from Rebecca Roanhorse. It says, "A sprawling epic fantasy that spans the lives of warriors, queens, and the fate of the continent." She calls it ambitious and engaging. So very excited about this. I'm hoping to have a new series to be excited for. My other new release that I have is Lake Lore by Anna Marie McLemore. So Anna Marie McLemore writes YA magical realism. I've really enjoyed some other books from them, but their last 2 releases just didn't really pique my interest. They didn't really sound like something I wanted to read. So it's been a little while since I have gotten one of their newer releases, but this one I think does sound interesting. However, again, I don't remember too much about the plot at this point. I just know that there's something to do with lake magic in it, which is very intriguing to me. I don't feel like there are too many books that focus on lake magic, or just a magical lake. I think that there are these 2 teenagers who get like pulled into this magical lake. There's something like that. I don't know. But I am intrigued by this, and I know that I have enjoyed their books before and really like their writing. It's very beautiful usually, so I am looking forward to this. Okay, so those are my 2 new releases that I have. Then I have a couple of backlist books. So the first one is Fires of the Faithful by Naomi Kritzer, I think. And this is a fantasy that takes place in a music conservatory, I believe. And so you can see on the cover, she's holding a violin. So I believe our main character goes to like this music conservatory, and I think there's a female romance in this. I've been kind of interested in this one for a while and decided to finally pick it up. Something I've been thinking about recently is kind of like, what are the thinking about, like, you know, how there are different waves of trends within publishing, and figuring out like what is the, like, what wave was kind of what is kind of my thing, you know, because there are some elements of like current trends in publishing that just don't really work for me. But I have realized that there is a kind of the little like niche that I tend to like is fantasy written by women in like the 90s and early 2000s, whatever was happening in publishing at that time, whatever that like trend was, I tend to like, or at least I have quite a few books that kind of fit into that. It's not like a type of a trend, a very specific trend that you can like look up, but I've been trying to pick up more books from that time, from like 90s and early 2000s fantasy written by women. And I believe this falls into that category. Yes, this is 2002, so it falls into the early 2000s part of it. And yeah, I haven't really heard many people talk about this. I think I heard about this from Jean, from Jean's Bookish Thoughts. And I just have been wanting to give it a try, so picked it up. Okay, then the next books that I have are all part of a series and are maybe a little bit silly that I have these. So one of them makes more sense, which is City of Night by Michelle West. This is the second book in the House Wars series. I am reading and almost done with the first book, which is The Hidden City, and I have really been enjoying it, so I want to get the second book. The part of this that is silly is that I have the first 3 books in hardcover in like used editions. This one has like a sticker on it that I'm gonna have to figure out how to get off. But this, the reason this ended up this way, that I have both, I have these 3, but I also have the paperback copies of the first 2, is because I was trying to get a hold of a mass market version of this book, and for whatever reason, it was surprisingly difficult to find. Most bookstores, like, it was out of stock online and I couldn't find it anywhere, and so then I was trying to figure out where I would get this. I did find a used edition of the hardcover, so I decided to get this, and then I was like, well, if I have the second book in hardcover, I should probably get the first book in hardcover also. So that's how I ended up with these. And then I was like, well, I guess I'm collecting the series in used editions of hardcovers, because these aren't published in hardcover anymore. And I found the third one, which I was going to kind of hold myself back from buying the third book just yet, but this book, another one that is surprisingly difficult to find specifically in hardcover. You can get the mass market paperback of this edition pretty easily for whatever reason. But if you try to get hardcovers, they're like $50 or something, which I wasn't going to do. Anyway, I eventually found this used edition that, I think it was maybe like $15 or $20, which is still not a cheap book, but way better than $50 if I am like deciding to collect these as hardcovers. But then after I had already ordered these, I found this. I found a copy of the mass market of the second book. So I decided to order this also because I was like, honestly, it's gonna probably be easier for me to just get the series in mass market. Other than this one book, most of them seem to be pretty easily available in mass market edition. So I got this. So now I'm in this situation where I have the first 3 books in hardcover, but I have kind of decided I'm gonna be collecting the book in mass market. And like, I could go through the process of finding used editions of the hardcovers, but I don't think I'm going to, because this is a very long series. There's a lot of books in this series. It's not easy to find these editions. And honestly, they don't have the best covers. Like, this is ugly. This is not a great cover. This one, very so-so. I do kind of like this cover. I think this one's kind of fun. Mostly, I just enjoy the colors of it. So I don't really have a purpose for collecting these as hardcovers, because I like mass market paperbacks. I know not a lot of people do, but I like this style of book. So I think I'm just going to be collecting them and reading them in mass market. So that's kind of what I've decided on now that I have been able to find this book. But now I don't know what to do with these. At the moment, I think I'm going to keep them. I don't think I'm going to continue getting any more hardcover editions of this series, but I'll probably just hang on to these 3 as long as I continue to like the series. If I don't like the series, then I won't keep them. But as long as I continue to like the series, I'm going to hang on to these 3. And maybe these will be ones that the editions that I use for videos, just because, you know, it looks nicer, it's easier to see the cover, it's better for display in a video. So if I do continue to like the series and I want to be able to talk about it and hold up like a nice hardcover in a video, I now have these. So it's I'm kind of have these for vanity now. But I already have them, so I may as well keep these, but I'm going to be continuing to get the series in mass market as long as I continue reading it. Anyway, that is my story about how I ended up with these, and I ended up in sort of a conundrum because I sort of couldn't figure out where to get this one, and then panic bought hardcover editions for whatever reason. Anyways, that is my March and April book haul. That is the entirety of it. It is a very small book haul. It'll be a quick little video, but I thought it'd be good to get this one out there and tell you what books have been coming into my life, into my library. But if you've read any of these, I'd love to know your thoughts on them, because as I said, I don't know too much about most of these, but I am very much looking forward to all of them. Anyway, I'd love to know if you've read any of these and what your thoughts are, or if you're excited about any of them. I'm actually really looking forward to all of these. I guess I wouldn't have bought them if I wasn't looking forward to them, but I'm excited about them all. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye!